Good evening, everyone. Tonight is the next episode of Let Us Talk Special Live. Guest Reece Jackson. Most people would know him as Jacko. I'll wait for him to come on. As always, all questions are welcome. Let me just write it. So on Monday we've got 4 more guests again, which I'll announce either tonight or tomorrow. Cheers, Charlie. Hopefully you're good as well, mate. Let me get Jacko on 1 second. Good evening, mate.
What's happening, mate?
Yeah, not bad, you?
Not too bad.
So for the ones what don't know you in here or gonna watch it back, let them know who you are, what you do, and obviously how we met.
Yeah, so obviously my name's Reece Jackson. Most people know me as Jacko. And obviously I came across Jamie Leggett's mental health Let Us Talk show on Twitter a little while ago, and it's something that, you know, kind of touched me really because it's something that I'd never spoken about in the past, and seeing people open up and, you know, express their feelings and their emotions and stuff, it was good to see, and it was something I wanted to do. So, and that's when me and you got in touch.
Yeah. Obviously, I know you from obviously as well through Sunday football. Obviously, a reputation of maybe back in the day of a stereotype, a hard
hmm
nut.
hmm
But you're going to touch on that obviously a little bit about your mental health through football and the struggles you may have had, and also how it's helped you as well.
hmm
Obviously tonight it's a one-on-one. Before we spoke where we only had like 15, 20 minutes. So however in depth you want to go, that's fine.
hmm
I'll stop you along the way if I've got any questions. And also obviously hopefully some people in here might have some questions for you as well.
hmm
So really it's just tell your story really tonight and just ask questions along the way.
Yeah, no worries, man.
All right, so
Um,
I'll let you obviously start.
yeah, so it was about 10, 11 years ago. Um, Football was going well. Um, I was in and about semi-pro quite a lot, playing for some good teams. I was getting recognised from, you know, some professional clubs, Portsmouth, teams in Scotland were looking at me. Um, so yeah, football was going well, but it was what I was doing on the outside, what was causing the problems for football. Um, it was the people I was around. It was where I grew up, and also, you know, it was part and parcel of maybe my dad not being around as well. So going back to the football bit, where you know where my reputation started was when I started fighting with players, fighting with staff, referees, um, and that all really started from where I grew up. And I've always I'm the youngest of four, and there's four brothers, four of us, and the one up from me. Um, you know, he always told me, you know, you got to stand up for yourself and stuff like that. And he was like sort of like the dad role in that extent. Um, so, and he was a bit of a lunatic himself as well. I'm not gonna lie.
Mm.
So that's where all like the fighting side of it started coming into place. Um, you know, I was fighting out on the streets and stuff like that. You know, I was fighting in school. It was just this person. Something I loved doing. You know,
Mm.
it's horrible to say, but I just loved fighting. And I took on boxing, but it was rather boxing or football, and I couldn't do the both.
Yeah.
So obviously I chose football in the end, and I went to boxing to try and stop my anger out elsewhere, and it didn't really. So I started going to football. Like I said, I started fighting with players and stuff like that,
Mm.
and I started ruining lots of opportunities for myself. Um, I went to Staines Academy on like a full term basis down there, and I wasn't going college and stuff like that, and I got kicked out of there, and that's when my head started really going. Um, no one wanted to take me on. Everyone knew that I had the ability on the pitch, but I had this bad boy image of he's going to come along and he's going to cause trouble and stuff like that.
Mm.
Um, and I went to Ashford Town, Middlesex. So the manager called. Ashford Town got in contact with me and they said, "Look, we need you to get your head down." I was only 17 at the time. No, sorry, 18 at the time. And he said, come down there, get your head down, because you've got the ability and blah blah blah. And just first game I played, a player spat at me in the first 2 minutes, and I just knocked him out. And then that was it. I got kicked out of Ashford Town again. That was like the second time in like 2 months I'd been kicked out of a club. So that was like it. No clubs were really touching me at the start. So like I said, my head was going slowly. No one was interested in me. I was struggling to find a team. Um, and then that's when I went. So a guy called Joe McLaughlin, like I spoke to you last time about it, he got in
Mm.
contact with me and said, "Look, Jacko, you really settle down now. You're losing your head too much." And he was like a hard nut as well.
Mm.
So he had like a soft spot for me. He said, "Look, you've got the ability. You need to just stop fighting and stuff like that. Come down. I've got an opportunity for you. Come down to QPR training ground. I've got this project where I send players out to America." Um, so anyway, I was like, "I don't want to go to America, mate. I love London. Like, that's not something I want to do. I'm only a young boy as well. You know what I mean?"
Mm. Yeah, yeah.
So he said, "Look, come down. Just give it a go." So anyway, I went down there. I smashed the first trial,
Yeah.
and he went, "Look, there's meant to be 4 stages, but the next stage you're not needed at." Um, these are the times my older brother was in prison as well.
Mm.
So I got through that, and I remember speaking to my brother, and after sorry, let me go back. So when I spoke to Joe, he said, I said, "Look, what's the process of all what's going on?" So he said, "Look, when you go out there, the fourth round of the stages is you're playing in a talent ID game where there's going to be coaches and all from over America,
Mm.
and they're going to look at you, but they're also going to look at your profile from other clubs as well." So I said, "Look, there's no way that they're going to set me if they find out what I've been fighting with teams and stuff like that, because you had to give them like a CV sort of where you've been, because they want to follow up with your clubs of what sort of player you are." And because back
Yeah, yeah.
then you didn't have social media like now. You didn't have Twitter and Instagram and stuff like that where you could just um, upload your videos and stuff like that. Then it was word of mouth.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
I was like, "Well, look, there's no chance they're going to take me on." So he said, "Look, let me speak to them and blah, blah, blah." So anyway, I spoke to my brother and he said, "Look, I want you to go out there and I think this is good for you and stuff like that." And I was like, "Look, it's cost money, 2, 3 grand, something I didn't have at the time, because you had to go out there and do a college course. And then once you've done the college thing, then you had a chance to go and play in the MLS."
Yeah.
So got a few months down the line, and Joe called me and he said, "Look, the next stage is approaching. What are you going to do?" Um, and I said, "Look, I was getting into trouble outside. Was I was My head wasn't really in it at all." I said, "Look, I'll come down." And then this was the 15th of October, 2011.
Mm.
This is when the game was.
Yeah.
So, and unfortunately, October the 11th was when my brother died. So that had totally gone out the window.
Mm.
Was never. I can't even. It's such a blur back then. I can't even remember what even went on back then.
Mm.
I think I just ignored Joe. I didn't even end up even getting in contact with him again. And that's when the mental health started kicking in, mate. That's
Mm.
when it started kicking in. Um, Obviously, I just lost my brother. The family was struggling. I was struggling. Wasn't working. Wasn't had nothing really going for myself. You know, I wasn't around my friends, and it was a thing like where how I grew up. I never drank alcohol or smoked at
Mm.
all. Cigarettes. I never done drugs or or drunk.
Yeah.
So I was kind of no use to my friends. Like I was no good to them unless it was something to do with football. Like if I had football boots, or if I had football kits and stuff like that, or if there was some sort of trouble they was in, they would want me to call my older brother.
Mm.
So I was no good to them in them sort of stages. So I hardly heard from any of my friends
Mm.
and stuff like that. Um, and it was just all getting to me, mate. It was all getting to me. Like I said the last time, you know, I was signing on job centre. You know, I was had nothing really going for me. I was like selling stuff. I was selling my stuff, my phones, my PlayStation games. You know, it was all a bit too much for me. And I remember I was like I said last time. I was in my room. And I just remember Googling stuff, you know, how to take your life and stuff like that. And that was the point where, you know, I thought, oh, like, there's no reason for me to even be here anymore. I got nothing
Mm.
going for me. You know, I can't, football is all I know. I can't get into a football team at all. I don't want to play football anyway because, you know, I'm grieving over my brother, you know.
Mm.
Um, And all like the thought I had in my head is that, you know, obviously it might not be true, but the thought I had in my head, you know, some people were happy that he had passed away, you know,
Mm.
from some of the things the reputation he had. And that's the thought I couldn't get out of my head. I'm
Yeah.
not saying people thought that, but that's the thought I had in my head where I was so angry.
Yeah.
You know, there's all these thoughts running through your head and stuff like
You
that.
you always thought of bad things, nothing
Of course,
positive.
you don't think of nothing positive.
Mm.
And, you know, I dealt with everything myself. No one knew I was going through any of this
Yeah.
at all. I mean, my mum didn't even know it until I spoke to you the last time. No
Mm.
one knew. I was that person that didn't want to open up to anyone because I'd seen so much around me. When you express your bad stuff to people, you know, they just end up just gossiping about you. And that's something that I didn't want.
Mm.
I didn't want people knowing my problems. Oh, you know, this and that. And so I bottled it up and dealt with everything myself. No one at all. Um, so that was tough for me, and that's something that, you know, kind of even to this day now, it frustrates me now that I
Yeah.
even thought of them thoughts of even taking my life,
Mm.
because now where I look at where I am now, I thought, you know, that was very selfish of me. You know, my mum just lost one of her sons, and then to possibly lose another one
Mm.
was like, you know, it's gonna put my mum and family and friends through that all again. But I think it was bottling everything up, and this is why I came on the show the last time to speak to you,
Mm.
because I think, you know, I was lucky enough to deal with it by myself, lucky enough,
Mm.
but not everyone's like that, and I just think, you know, mate, you should open up. You should open up to your close ones,
Mm.
and friends and family and stuff like that.
Sorry, I'm just reading some of the comments as well. Aaron, obviously, I don't know if he's a friend of yours or a
Yeah, he
relative or
went.
whatever.
Yeah, I went to school with Aaron. Yeah,
He said, I'm like that as well, bro. A few other people have put like love hearts and stuff like that as well. Obviously,
mm.
like you got some Junior Baker as well. Proud of you, Jacko.
Yeah, some nice comments, and you know what? There's
Yeah.
some lovely. I get some good support now, man, and it's nice.
Mm.
And it's things like that. The support I get now, I just wish, like, it's weird because I tweeted something yesterday, and I said, there's people you've met over social media who you probably haven't even seen before, who will
Mm.
show you more support than some of your day ones. And it's so
Mm.
true.
Mm-hmm.
It's so true, because even to this day now, for some of the things I've done for some people, they're not there for me. They won't promote something. They won't text me saying, you know, happy birthday to your son and stuff like that. But there's people that I've met through football and social media who will show the utmost love, you know?
I echo that as well, Jacko. To be fair, like obviously, I don't know if I see it or I liked it or whatever, but obviously I look out for like certain people as well, like who've supported me as well.
Mm,
Like you
mm,
supported me through this, like Junior
yeah,
Baker and stuff like that.
mm,
And I echo that 100% because I feel like recently, like I've been obviously like trying to promote it a little bit more,
Mm.
like and saying, look, if you've not seen it on Instagram, go to the YouTube play just for
Yeah.
awareness. It ain't
Mm.
about subscribers. It ain't about. I
Mm-hmm.
might say subscribe, but it's only because I want them to see the notifications and stuff like that.
Yeah,
That it's
yeah, yeah.
uploaded and that. But I don't care about all that. You know what I mean, or anything like
Mm.
that. It's just
Mm-hmm.
if you've missed it, go and have a look. You know what I mean, and everything
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
And it's like people what I feel like I'm closest to, they're not helping me promote it. You know what I mean? And
No,
it's like
it's
I'm
always
like, are
it's
you being
always the
for
way.
real?
It's
Like,
always the mate, and you know what? It takes. How long does it take to? I don't know. Some people here might not be on Twitter, but it takes about
mm,
1.2 seconds to retweet something, or
yeah,
even push the like button. It's not a lot. We
yeah,
don't need to compete with each other. We need to support one another. You know,
100%.
and this is where the problems are, like lie. But where I look at the support now, I just wish I did have that back then because I wouldn't have these thoughts of taking my own life. You
Yeah,
know, and it still frustrates me to this day that I even thought about them things, and I even Googled, the the not the easiest way, but the most, what's the word, the most less painful way. I don't know, to
yeah,
take your life and stuff
yeah,
like
yeah.
that. You know what I mean? And it just, I get angry with myself and just think, you know what? Why did you even think of these things?
But like, you should be proud. Obviously, you've turned that anger
Hmm.
overall into a positive. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Going forward, like as much as obviously you struggled back then, and everything like that, but you've gone forward and you've turned that anger now into a positive, and the positive things you're obviously doing for the community and young kids, and also obviously like with your. I know they're in here as well, like Unbalanced podcasts and stuff like
yeah.
that. Like
Hmm.
you've got like good things going on now, and you've turned a lot of negative thoughts and everything like that into positives now. So, like it's good
Absolutely.
to that I've got you on here, so it shows you can go through all them hard times and you can go
Hmm.
through things and thoughts like that, but
Hmm.
you've actually turned a lot into a positive. You know what I mean? So that's
Yeah,
why I wanted to get you back on, obviously, to tell your
yeah,
story and see it. You know what I mean? So I'm just
definitely.
reading
And
this.
and you know
Yeah,
what? There's people in it as well. Obviously, I'm not really looking through the messages too much, but
yeah,
there's friends and family in here who know what the
mm,
family have gone through and know what I've gone through and stuff like that. And then there's people that I've met over the due course and stuff who I've explained to, but haven't gone too deep into it and stuff like that. But I get messages now to say, I'm so proud of you of what you've done, the dad you are, and
mm,
this is just even by posting something on social media, they can see that the effort you're putting in.
mm,
Um, and like I said, some of these people have known me from when I was really young,
mm-hmm.
and they'll tell you I'm known for football.
Yeah,
That's all I've wanted to do. If I see someone I ain't seen in like 3-4 years, still
mm,
playing football, Jacko, stuff like that. This is what
mm,
I'm known for.
yeah,
And how didn't you make it and stuff like that. And this is why I get into what I try to do now,
mm,
because there's so much talented kids out there
mm,
who are unfortunately stuck. That's probably what the word is. They're
mm,
stuck, and if I can try and get in there, get my fingers in there, and try and help them and take them out and put them the right into the right way and open the door for them and let them walk through it, and then this is what I want to do. It's not really about me anymore.
yeah.
I'm just
Yeah, just some of the comments obviously coming in as well. Is that Sonia turned around and said who is going to be on a show later on in a few weeks. Is talking to people that who have been through it and understand. Yeah, it helps. It does help. I feel like we've been talking to a lot of people, obviously, and it's good to hear, obviously, all their views. But sometimes you can't beat, obviously, somebody who's gone through maybe some mental health issues,
mhm.
just to understand more. Um, yeah, someone else said, Reece, you should be proud of yourself. You mentor the kids. I can't see who that is.
Yeah, that's my old work colleague, bless her, Jay.
Yeah, obviously,
Sorry if I have missed any comments.
yeah, your mum,
Yeah,
I'm guessing, Mummy Jacko. That
yeah.
that's right, Jamie. Reece has turned it all around.
You know,
All around.
my mum's seen it all. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
She's seen everything, and she still sends me nice messages now.
mm,
Tell her how proud of she and who wouldn't want to hear that from your mom? You know what I mean? She's
of
not saying it
course.
for the sake of it. She's saying it because she means it. You know what I mean? She knows how
Mm,
hard we've had it. Um, and just going back, it was like I said to you about my dad not being there and stuff like
yeah.
that. I do think that played a major part in it. I'm not gonna lie.
Mm,
My dad was. I don't really. It's the maddest thing, Jay. I don't even know my dad too well like that. But what I know of my dad came across to me as like this hard nut.
Yeah.
Right, he was well known. When I used to see my dad's friends, your dad, he was a nutter and stuff like that. And some of the stories my mom tells me and stuff like that. So
Mm.
I needed him to, to really kick me in shape when I was really misbehaving, when I was
Mm.
fighting and stuff like that. And remember my mom there was four of us, and
Yeah.
she did her utmost best to try and make sure. And we always had nice things and stuff like that. Don't get me wrong. We always had the latest trainers, the computers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
She tried her best, bless her. But she couldn't take me football.
Mm.
And then, because there was my other brothers, you know what I mean?
Of
So
course, yeah.
it was a struggle, and that's where my dad should have been there. And what killed me the most, I think, playing football was having to go to football with other players' dads. That's
Mm.
what killed me the most. When I get to football, I'm seeing all the dads there. They've got their sons' water bottles on the side. I didn't have that. I didn't have that. I looked around, I didn't have no one, and that's not because my mum didn't want to be there. It's like she couldn't really be there. She's not a big fan of football anyway. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
I just think that should have been my dad's role. But he's lost really. He chose to not get involved, and it's him not being around made me the man I am today. Really.
Yeah, of course. Again, I feel you're always learning through maybe your mistakes or other people's mistakes, or you're learning from um, experiences all the time. You're always
Mm.
learning. Like as much as people may turn around and say, "Oh, I know this and I know that," you're always learning on something and always looking for the positive way forward. You know what I mean? So
Hmm.
it's good. Just some questions. Obviously, I'll throw them out there. They're very similar to what I asked you last time, and in general for most guests when you come on here. What does mental health mean to you?
I'm gonna try and change it up a little bit. Just
Mm.
you know, if you are dealing with mental health, and talking from my experience, and you're trying to deal with it yourself, that's absolutely fine. If you want to deal with it yourself, everyone's different. But if you are having these thoughts, of maybe trying to give up and stuff like that, that's when I think you need to speak up and talk to someone, because it's taking your own life and stuff like that. It's something that it shouldn't happen. People shouldn't have to do that. And where I was quite close to doing it, and I know some people have who've attempted it as well and stuff like that. And I just think
Mm.
just try and open up to the ones that you feel comfortable with. I didn't really feel comfortable doing it with anyone because my mum was going through enough as it is. I didn't want to put more stress on my mum. My brothers were going through it as well, and the family. And like I said, I didn't really have friends there like that. I
Mm.
was I was no good to my friends, and still to this day, I feel like I'm still no good to them. But I still I still do what I do for them. There's friends out there who still ask me to help them out, and some of them probably don't even know my son's name and stuff like that. But the
Mm.
person I am, I still do it.
Yeah.
So I just think people who are going through mental health, just open up, and speak to someone, because there's people out there who will help you, whether you know them or you don't.
Yeah, a lot of people think lately I've been saying it's finding the right person to open up to. Like there'll always be one person, but it's finding that right person so
Mm.
you can have that open conversation and be like trusting of what they're saying, you know what I mean, and everything like that. So sorry, Michelle, and she's with the Coiling League, I think, isn't it? Yeah, she does the
Yeah,
stuff.
like going back to saying I've met people over
Mm.
social media. Michelle runs the Croydon League. I've seen Michelle a couple of times, but she's always supporting me,
Yeah.
always supporting the Unbalanced podcast, always sending me nice messages about my son and my
Mm.
partner and stuff like that. And I just think, that's coming from someone who doesn't even know me that well, you
Yeah.
know. And
This
it's
is
going back. It's going back to friends who have known you so well.
yeah.
How can people who you've just met and or more of a social media support you more than some of your day ones, and some of the things that you've done for some people they can't even help you, and it's a shame really. But
Yeah.
like I said, if I had this support, back then, it would have helped me massively.
Yeah, she said a handful of friends you can trust with your emotional well-being are absolutely priceless. Yeah, 100%. I agree with that.
Mm.
Like even as I said, I think it's just really finding the person, the person or people where you can trust to be able to speak about these things and these issues
Mm.
and them being able to, they might not be able to give you the full advice. They're not professionals. Like I say, I'm not
Mm.
professional on here. I just go and say my personal views of what I've been through or my family member has been through. So I just say my opinions, and I hope obviously that helps one person. But yeah, I
Of course,
think
and I always say,
mm,
when people are going through hard times, you haven't got to speak about what's going on. If you
mm,
want to go out there and do something completely different, take their mind off it. That helps them. Trust me, that helps them
mm,
because I've been around people who are going through tough times, and I've done certain things with them or have had a conversation with them, and I'll get a text later say thank you. You took my mind off that for an hour. You know what I mean? If you can do that, then that's helping someone a, a little bit. You know what I mean?
mm. What does football mean to you to keep your mental health on the straight and narrow? You feel?
Football, football's everything to me, man.
Mm,
Football's everything to me. It's kept me going. It's kept me out of jail. I'm not gonna lie, it's kept me out of prison. Um, I've got the first and last time I was arrested in 2004. You know, back when I thought I was like a bad man. I was 15, 16. I was just leaving school. I thought I was a bad boy. My older brother had a good reputation. You know, I was fighting. I was getting a bit of a name for myself. And then I got nicked for GBH. And I'll never forget. I went to court inner London in Elephant Castle. I think that's the one. And I went with my mum and my cousin. And I remember I got found guilty, and I cried my eyes out like a baby. I was 16. I thought I was this bad boy. And when the judge said you're getting guilty, I sobbed my eyes out. Sobbed my eyes out to my mum. You know. Um, but luckily, when I came back in 2 months, my GCSEs were like a week later, and the judge gave me a chance, and he said, I'm not going to take your GCSEs away from you and stuff like that. But I was on a strict provision, and I was on curfew, I was on
yeah,
probation, and that's another thing what come out of probation as well. I met someone called George Turner who's turned out to be a long life friend who's helped me massively along the way. So I think things happen for a reason, but like I said, football did save me, mate. Because going back to the story with Glyn Stevens, I'm not going to go into it too much, but
mm,
when I was in a dark place at time, and Glyn Stevens called me up. A lot of people might know from the previous time. He called me up and said, "Look, Jacko, I
mm,
need you to come down." And I went down and scored a hat trick, and it was when I put my ball in the
mm,
cabinet, and I looked at the ball and went, this is why I should be here and stuff like that. So football has saved me, and it saved a lot more people, a lot more other people as well.
yeah.
And you know what? When I wake up, I think of football, and it's everything to me, man. So like I said, football's it's the only thing I know well. It's
Mm.
the only thing I feel like I'm good at. So this is why I'll always try and get involved in football as much as I can.
Yeah, a couple of questions what have come to light the last couple of weeks and I've spoken about. Do you feel there should be more maybe specialists in the football environment on mental health and also in education as
Yeah,
well? Do you feel it should be a lot more specialists as well?
yeah, absolutely. Because football is not just a game to people. You know what I mean? People take football like seriously, and I don't think you know when from amateur football, right? It's different at professional level. They get everything. You know what I mean? They get everything. They may not have the help when it comes to mental health. No, because I know a lot of players who have played at the top and who have struggled.
Mm.
And to this day now, who are coming out and saying that they struggled back then. So there isn't enough support, and
Yeah.
there should be. You know. Um, but again, if you're going to have a football team and you've got physios and you've got secretaries and you've got kitmen, you've got all these people, why not add someone, who can help out the players with mental health and stuff like that? Because there's people like that who are willing to do it,
Yeah.
even if it comes down to the secretary having to do something a bit extra,
Mm.
these things they should start adding there so players can go and talk to people if they're like if they feel comfortable enough.
Yeah. What about education? Do you feel that it should be a more educated to younger, so it would help a younger generation coming through to understand it more, or if somebody's going through their struggles, you can catch it a little bit earlier?
Yeah, that's a difficult one really because that goes down to the educational side. If you're playing at academies, you've got all that at the academy level stuff like that because you're all in school together or whatever you do in there. But
Mm,
it's different at the amateur and the semi-pro levels and stuff like
mm,
that. But that's down to their schooling outside of that. So
yeah.
it's a little bit different.
Mm. Yeah, sorry, Dan Thompson is in here playing for Kingstonian and that. He said facts. He feels like, I think what he said, obviously, you've just said, Jacko, about people worrying about mental health of players. Um, a lot of players, what we've spoken to, and I don't know your thoughts on it, I'll ask them now. Do you
Mm.
feel managers and coaches, especially if they're a bit old school, etc., and stuff like that, or stereotype old school, do you feel they're just worried about the results, especially in maybe non-league, and they don't worry about the mental health or the struggles away from the pitch or away from the training ground? What's going on, and they're just worried about results. And should they open their mind up a little bit more?
Yeah, we think the older generation, it was different in their times. You know what I mean? There, like they say to you, there was no coloured boots back then and stuff like that. It was old school. There wasn't even playing with shin pads and stuff like that. They're proper hardcore. Them lot. You
Yeah,
know, they was losing teeth in football and stuff like that. My granddad used to tell me everything, mate. That they didn't even use goalkeepers' gloves and stuff like that. They're proper
mm,
old school. So when you've got like an older manager, no, he's not going to really know about that because
mm,
he's built differently.
mm,
He's experienced it differently, and all the technology and that comes into it now. They're not really going to take into that too much because most of them are coming to like the end of their coaching and managing careers and stuff like that. So it's more for
mm,
the younger generation, like myself,
mm,
who's still playing,
mm,
but would want to do coach. Well, I do coach, but to do management and stuff like that. They're the things I need to pick up on and play. And people around me or anyone out there who's thinking of doing that needs to start, educating themselves on that side now, where they can help players um, on that side of the game.
I think a lot of people feel they should be, or at least a manager or a coach should know about mental health, as you say, or get themselves educated about mental health, because
Mm.
um, I feel it's a lot more in the game now, obviously, as we're saying. And
Yeah,
if people are struggling through that, they're not going to perform. So you're not going to perform, then you're not going to perform for their manager. So if you can help in that way, then it's only going to benefit you as a manager or a coach to help as well. You know what I mean?
yeah. Like they always say, a manager knows these players, but you need to try and get to know your players a little bit more than just their playing side. If you can get to know their personality a bit more, and if you know a player, like when I used to coach, I would know when like I only had under 11s, but I
Yeah.
would know if one of them was really down and
Mm,
stuff like that. And I remember I was playing a game one time, and I had this loud kid who was always, loud. He was always making jokes, and there was one game where, well, 1 week where he was down, didn't say nothing, and I
yeah.
pulled him before the game, and I remember saying to him, I said, "What's going on? Is everything all right at school?" And he said he was being bullied at school and stuff like that. And
Mm,
you just need to know your players of and things like that because, like I said, players ain't going to open up, especially young kids. They're not going to open up, but players ain't really going to want to open up to the manager. They can't open up to friends and family. They're not going to open up to their football manager. So again, it goes back to trying to know your players a bit more than just football.
yeah, 100%. Um, how do you feel? Obviously, you touched on what you said of um, like speaking to someone if you was going through struggles. But what else do you feel people can do? Obviously, it's not going to work always to talk. Obviously, I say let's talk and everything like that. Let us talk. But sometimes people don't want to talk. So what do you feel they can do if they don't feel they can talk at that time?
That's that's a tough one. I can't really comment on other people's, but
Mm,
from how I've done things, I always think to myself, there's people out there a lot more worse than me,
mm,
a lot more worse than me, you know. And sometimes I sit here and I'm like, you're selfish, Jacko. You know what I mean? You're selfish of some of the things. that you think about, because some people ain't even got a home out there. Some people ain't even got jobs. Some people's health. You know, that's what gets me through it. That's what personally gets me through it. I don't know about other people. That's what gets me through it. And
Yeah.
as I've got older, and I think maybe since where I became a dad, I got a bit more emotional. And that's when the side come to me of, stop, like, just liven yourself up. There's other people out there going through worse things. Like, I can't even watch an advert of, you know, the kids that, like, in Africa, who can't even get meals. I can't even tell the missus mute it or turn it over. Like, I've
Yeah.
just come like this emotional person.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I can't even watch things like that. I can't even watch films, where there's something that's really sad. This is the person that I've come. Like, so
Mm-hmm.
it's that side of me that's coming to life. And like I said, going back to I totally lost what I was saying then. Going back to this, what was I just saying? I just totally forgot what I was just saying.
Just saying about there's worse people
Yeah,
than in
sorry,
the world.
sorry, yeah. That's sorry. So yeah, again, just going back to that bit and just think, there's people out there going through much more worse stuff. So that's what's got me through it personally. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how I can, because it's a bit. No, I can't really tell people, look, don't be selfish. I can't be saying that. Don't be selfish. Other people going that. That's just how
Yeah, of
I've gone
course.
through things.
Yeah, you can only
You got
pass on when
you,
your experiences,
of
of
course, there's
course.
people like you. There's people like you doing this, like doing these Instagram lives and stuff like that, which is probably helping a load. And look how much guests you have. I mean, you're on every Monday and Thursday. You know what I mean? You've
Mm-hmm.
got 4 guests on a Monday and one on a Thursday. So you're getting more people to open up, and it's stuff like that. And it's people like, when they are coming on, and their friends are seeing them in the comments. So like, for now, people saying, "All right, Jacko's opening up. Well, maybe, if I'm going through stuff, maybe I should open up
Yeah.
if I'm going through anything, So all these things are helping.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, unfortunately, there's not enough out there to help us.
Well,
We have to do it
yeah.
this way. But going back to the pandemic thing, it's everything happens for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
We probably wouldn't be doing this conversation if
No.
if the pandemic didn't happen.
A
You
hundred
know what I mean?
percent. I said that. Said because I didn't have enough time and I didn't think about or I thought
Exactly.
about things doing it, but I didn't have time. And
Mm-hmm.
I put it in motion since obviously lockdown's been, and I had more time. Obviously off work, off but still being in work because I work in an SEN school. But I've
Yeah.
had more time on my hands because I haven't had to go in every day and everything
Mm-hmm.
like that. So I've had more time to do it. So 100% I agree with that, Jacko. Like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, we wouldn't be. So as you say, everything does happen for a reason. I believe
Yeah.
that as well. 100%. Yeah, the phone's ringing. One sec. But yeah, no, they so I just feel like, as you say, going forward, that was the next question I was going to say. How do you feel there should there be more projects? Should there be, what do you feel there should be more in the world to maybe help people to open up or help people with mental health?
I was talking to someone the other day, and I was saying about how the FA have got so much money and stuff like that, and they're not using it to its full potential, because all these projects and stuff like that, you need money to run all these things. You know what I mean? All
Mm,
right, we can all go on our phones and press Instagram Live and try and help other people out, but
yeah.
to go out there and set things up, it costs money, and especially with this pandemic right now, where money is tight for everyone. No
Mm,
one, for a little while, I'm probably for the next year thing, no one's really going to be interested in these sort of things, setting things up. But
mm,
I think if I could, this is something I would want to do, because it's raising awareness, and like I said to you last time, Jay, if it can help one person, if we can change one
mm,
person,
mm-hmm.
then that's enough. You know what I mean? So
100%.
there definitely needs to be a lot more help out there. But I just think it gets brushed under the carpet when everyone talks about football mental health. No one really talks about football
Mm,
like that. Footballers get paid too much and blah blah blah.
mm,
So people have to go in and dig deep and get these things for themselves, because it's not going to get passed down from people like FA. They're not going to give money and
mm.
support anyone who's trying to do projects like this. If you went to the FA and said, this is what I want to do with mental health, they're just going to laugh at you. You
Yeah,
know
of
what I mean?
course.
There's not enough support out there. So
Mm,
you have to start from the bottom and just try and do as much as you can.
Yeah, 100%. Last question, Jacko. I'll let you go unless
Mm.
there's any obviously other questions what come in. It's been a good chat. So, but what do you feel, obviously, after this lockdown? You've touched on it a little bit, but what's your overall message to anyone what may be struggling or going forward? What should they do if they are having any struggles, and also what you feel people around people with struggles could could do to help?
Talk to someone. DM me. If you want to feel like you want to have a conversation with me, do it. Send your number up. I'm more than happy to have a conversation with you and share my experience a bit more. You know, I haven't said everything,
Mm,
that I've gone through, because there are some things that I've kept personal, and there's
mm,
some things that some people don't even know about me. And I probably won't ever share them experiences with me, because it just takes me back to them dark places, and I don't want to go back there.
yeah,
So, just open up and speak to people, and you'll know down the line, if, especially from your real friends, you'll know if your real friends actually know if you're going through things or not. Just checking in on people just to say how are you and stuff like that. All these things are important, but just open up, because like I said previously, I kept it all to myself. I
mm,
dealt with it all by myself, and it was only until I spoke to you last time that anybody knew what I was going through.
yeah,
I dealt with everything myself, and luckily enough, I got through it. But everyone's different. Some people don't get through it. You
yeah,
know, this is why I'm happy to share my experience with you, because if it can help someone. Because even when I spoke to you last time, I had a couple of messages from people,
mm,
and some people were shocked to even hear that what I had gone through.
yeah,
You know, so like I said, if we can help one another, man, let's do it.
100%. Before you go, Jacko, obviously let people know your socials and also obviously what you're doing with your podcast. Just before you go.
Yeah, so the Unbalanced podcast, obviously, we are the unbalanced team. Obviously, this pandemic's just slowed everything completely down. So I'm not going to say too much, because I want you guys to lock in and find out what we're about. But we're a podcast. So we're going to be, talking to celebrities. I'm not going to give it away too much. You're going to hear some of the stories for some people. So lock into that Unbalanced podcast. You can catch us on Instagram, on YouTube as well. And you can see what we've been up to in the pandemic. We're trying to do some entertainment for everyone and that as well. So you can see me on that, my cast member on there, and that's going to take off soon as well.
Mm,
So lock into that. You can catch me on Twitter, Childish3000. This is my personal Insta, so I wouldn't say add me on there, because I'm a bit private, because my son's and that all over it, I'm not going to lie. But you
mm,
can get me on Jacko, TUP, that's open, and you can follow me on there.
mm,
And you can follow my story there. So yeah, that's
yeah.
about it, man.
Cool. Thank you very much, Jacko. Keep safe. We'll catch up real soon. Thank you for sharing your experiences
All
and your
right.
story, mate.
Thanks for having me on, mate.
Of course,
Top
mate.
man.
Anytime.
All
Speak
right.
to you
No,
soon. Bye bye.
nice one, Jay.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Yeah, so that was Jacko. Sorry, I'll just go through some of your comments. Yeah, people need to put their pride aside and be open. Yeah, 100%. I agree with that. Some people are too proud, but some people don't want to open up at the time. But if they can, I would say, yeah, you need to open up. Michelle, thank you for your support tonight as well with Jacko, and obviously coming on and saying, if you can add me, Michelle, if you haven't already, I want to have a chat with you anyway. But yeah, if you can do that. But she said we all need to stamp out the stigma attached to men opening up about their feelings. 100%. Hopefully, this is what people have been doing on here and opening up. So hopefully, we can keep on doing this long past lockdown and that. But yeah, Michelle, if you can add me, that'd be great. If you haven't already, we'll have a chat. For anyone who's just come in here and haven't seen it and want to watch it back or watch other ones as well, yeah, literally go to YouTube, subscribe if you can, have a watch back. and what it is called Mental Health hashtag Let Us Talk on Monday. Yes, cheers, Tomo. We got 4 more guests on Monday. I'll announce them over the next few days. Yeah, Dodds, whatever you need to do, yeah, I can send some stuff over to me. Yeah, if you can send it over, that's fine. That'd be good. Um, yeah, so as I was saying, Monday got another 4 guests on. Next week again, we got another special. We've got fantastic guests lined up for the next few weeks as well, and also um, a little surprise coming up as well because it's literally been mayhem with all the people who want to come on here. But I appreciate the support. Keep supporting me, please. Keep supporting the movement, and showing awareness. And I'm grateful for everyone. So, as I say, go over, watch it on YouTube if you can. It will be on Instagram, but if you can go over to the YouTube channel, subscribe, and have a watch of the back ones as well, what we've done over the last few weeks. Mental health, hashtag Let Us Talk. We're back on Monday. If anyone has got any problems or any struggles, you know where I am. Just DM me, um, and we'll sort it out, and we'll have a chat. But let us talk. Everyone keep safe. I'll see you on Monday night at 8 o'clock again. Bye bye.